So we continue with our discussion on Shri Updeshamrut. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Ki Nana Shastra Vichanika Nipano Sadharma Sanstapako Lokanam Hitkarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanya Karau Radha Krishna Padarvinda Bhajna Nandena Mattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatano Shri Raghuyukau Shri Jiva Gopalakau. So we are discussing Updeshamrut, which helps one to develop through the 9 progressive stages of bhakti. So it all starts with Shraddha, then Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, that is cleansing, then the cleansing of the heart, then development of firm faith and steadiness, test and attraction to Krishna, attachment, then the preliminary stage of transcendental love, and then the fully developed law of Godhead. So the 11 shlokas, first 3 shlokas talking about Shraddha, so that is what we are completing today. Then the next 3 shlokas talking about Sadhu Sangha, 7th shloka about the Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nivrutti, Nishtha and Ruchi. The 8th shloka will explain about Asakti, and the last the 3 shlokas will talk about Bhava and Prema. Vacho Vegam, Manasah Krodha Vegam, Jivva Vegam, Udarapastha Vegam, Etan Vegan Anyo Visheta Dhira Sarvam Apimam Prithivim Sashishyat. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So what this shloka makes us understand is through the discussion we started off with Maharaj Parikshit on atonement. We saw the analogies of how attainment that we generally see are useless. So we saw the examples of the elephant taking bath and then again going and lying in the dirt, or the thief caught by the police but still continuing to do the same mistakes, and the confessions which people do on a weekly basis. Hare Krishna. We discussed what is the real atonement. So the real atonement is basically training according to the principles of and regulative principles and methodical life. So there we saw the 2 methods, the traditional tapasya system and the Pancharatrika tapasya system. So traditional systems involves celibacy, austerity, truthfulness, mind and sense control, renunciation, yogasanas, cleanliness. And Pancharatrika tapasya given by Rupa Swamiji, wherein we are to practice bhakti yoga under Guru's guidance and in association of devotees, and then following the regulative principles. We saw the application from the purport of Srila Prabhupada and from Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's purport. So Vacho Vegam, the problem we saw is we keep on talking. So examples we saw karmis and jnänis, and we saw how it is comparable to the croaking of a toad and the invitation to the slave. The solution is Krishna Katha. Mana, that is mind. Problem is it cannot be in vacuum, so it attracts anarthas. Solution is to meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna. Anger, it cannot be stopped. The solution is we apply it against the blasphemers. Tongue, Jivva, it is always forced to eat in karmis shops. Solution is that we take only prasad, and that too we have to be grateful when Krishna supplies and accept it as mercy, and also at scheduled times only. Udarapastha, we have to avoid all kinds of unnecessary sin. It is used only for Krishna conscious children. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in the Anuvritti commentary explained that the urges are of 3 nature: the speech, the mind, and the body. So in speech, we already saw Prajalpa is the biggest problem. The solution is Harikatha. For mind, he has given the explanation about avirodha priti, that is unrestricted attachment, and virodha yukta krodha, that is anger due to frustration. When something we expect is not fulfilled, we get anger. Regarding body, the problems are with tongue, belly, and genitals, and they are in one same line. So for tongue, he talked about the 6 types of demands and how the solution is going to be that we take only prasad. For belly, the problem is it's a stomach of disease, so he has suggested that we do the fasting as and when required. And regarding genitals, he talked about the illegal systems, that is even thinking, planning, talking, doing, and artificial means, and the legal was through marriage and accepting only Krishna conscious children. So the conclusion of the first shloka was that you can serve only one master. If you serve senses, then you become Godasa, Radhanta, go servant of the senses. And if you serve Krishna, then you become Goswami, controller of the senses. And Krishna consciousness is the best solution to control the six urges. Coming to the second shloka, which makes us understand Atyahara prayasascha prajalpaniyam agraha janasangascha laulyam cha shadvir bhaktir vinashyati. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following six activities: eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required, or endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters, practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically, associating with worldly-minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, and being greedy for mundane achievements. So the text 2, so we saw how they spoil the pure bhakti. So Atyahar, we saw the example of rice and birds. So you can put rice on the roof and the birds will pick up only that what is required, but a person, he'll take away everything. So Atyahar, we considered it from three angles: from religion. So the actual purpose is to go back to Godhead, understand Krishna. But then we saw how modern society is not taking it properly. From philosophical angle, we saw how karmis keep on writing books, the jnänis keeps on writing books, and they do atyahar. And the analogy we saw of the businessman who was reborn as a cobbler. And then atyahar even in welfare work. So all kinds of communism, capitalism, socialism, all those are useless because they are not centered on Krishna. Then endeavor or over endeavor, prayasaha. So we saw how because we keep on working what we don't require, it keeps on coming out. And that is the problem which comes up, like less time for inquiry. The solution is simple living. Then coming to prajalpa, so analogy is that of a frog. It keeps on croaking and inviting death, that is snake. Niyam agraha, so there we saw two examples, agraha and agraha. So rejecting rules so that we can enjoy, and accepting rules only which are useful for us. So we are ritualists. So both of those niyamagraha are not recommended. Jana sangaha, because association is something which defines us, and that is where we saw the stock market. So they keep on coming together. But the ideal association is bhakta-sane väsa, as mentioned by Narottama Thakurji. And then greed, laulyam. So we saw the three kinds of greed, that is mukti, mukti, and siddhi, and all have to be avoided. So these six activities, they are the one which destroy our bhakti. So what do we get by avoiding them? One, an ideal society. Two, no kind of enmity will exist. Three, all economic adjustments will be corrected. There will be political stability and spiritual community will be established. And that is where it would result in spiritual awakening. And ISKCON is working on that particular foundation because it is giving education as well as training. So what you lose by not avoiding these things are, we lose the essence of human life, that is plain living and high thinking. We come under the external energy, Bahiranga Shakti, and we suffer the threefold miseries and repeated birth, old age, disease, and death. So coming to the third shloka which we started, utsähän, niscayäd, dhairyät, tat-tat karma pravartanat, Sanga-tyägät sato vritte shadvir bhakti prasidhyati. There are six principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. One, being enthusiastic. Two, endeavoring with confidence. Three, being patient. Four, acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtam, Vishnu, Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. Five, abandoning the association of non-devotees. And six, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These six principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So these are the six principles which we saw in the translation itself. So the whole discussion yesterday was on this, how we develop this ABCD. A for attitude. So utsähän, niscayäd, dhairyät, they talk about attitude. Sanga-tyägät will be talking about behavior. Character will be understood from Tat-tat karma pravartanat, and direction from sevi. So the text whole discussion is about what is bhakti and what should be the impetus for bhakti. So we started off with what is not bhakti. So sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy is not a bhakti. Bhakti is anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukullena krishna anushilanam bhaktiruttama. So it has to be cultivated. It cannot be idle meditation. There has to be attachment to devotional activities. So all such activities are bhakti. How to perform them? By one of the 9 mechanisms: Shaunam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Vishnu, Smaranam. So any of those 9 activities, and it has to be under the guidance of a guru. For that, we saw the evidences from the literatures from Bhagavad Gita, Mundakupanishad, and even Caitanya Mahäprabhu. Why we should perform is because bhakti is rare, it is blissful, and it is liberating. And any sincere practitioner can perform bhakti. It does not depend on your birth. And where it can be performed? In association of devotees. And ISKCON provides the best platform. So 9 processes are recommended by Sri Prahlad Maharaj. First is hearing the name and glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 2, chanting his glories. 3, remembering the Lord. 4, serving the Lord's deity. 5, worshipping the deity. 6, offering obeisances unto the Lord. 7, acting as the Lord's servant. 8, making friends with the Lord. And 9, surrendering oneself fully to the Lord. So this is all what we covered till yesterday. Om Agyanti Nirantasya Jnananjana Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Caitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamblam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cham Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitam Sham Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we continue with the discussion on this third shloka, which is very important and which makes us understand a lot many things. Utsahat niscayäd dhairyät tat-tat karma pravartanat Sanga-tyägät sato vrittehe shadbir bhakti prasiddhi. Each and every word has such a detailed meaning, and each and every word is the practical guide for us on what all activities we need to do to increase her. So while second shloka made us understand what is to be avoided, this shloka is the training guide to make us understand what all we should do. And that is something which has been very nicely summarized by Prabhuji under ABCD. So A is attitude. So aspects of these 6 which come under attitude. B, behavior. C stands for character. And D for the direction. So let us take one by one each of it. So when we say attitude, what it means is it is including the first 3 of the 6 aspects. Utsähän, by enthusiasm. Niscayäd, by confidence. And dhairyät, by patience. So when we are saying that we have to develop properly and work on A, what it means is you have to become enthusiastic. You have to have full confidence, and we also need to simultaneously have patience. The reasons being, without enthusiasm, nothing can continue forever. The moment enthusiasm is removed, we stop that activity. Be it any activity, whether it is material or spiritual. So enthusiasm is the fuel which keeps on ensuring that whatever activity you are doing is continued. So enthusiasm is very important. And you should also have the confidence that what you are doing is appropriate. And the result that you are expecting to achieve is something which you will get by the activities that you are doing. And you also have to ensure that you remain patient, because bhakti is rare, so you won't get it so easily. So you have to keep patient, keep hoping, keep praying, and then one day will come when we will get it. So let us start to understand how do we remain enthusiastic. Now, generally what happens is whatever activity we try to do, if there is no one to guide us, to keep us together, to push us, to help us, when we feel low, then we stop. In exams, when people are appearing, they keep on studying. And if there is no one to guide them, they don't understand the concepts, they feel confused, they cannot remember, and they stop studying again. And if in such a situation, a coach comes, a guide comes, who tries to reason with him, makes him understand the concepts, the journey starts again. He feels enthusiastic, he works more. At times we don't know what is the objective that we want to achieve. So we think that, okay, playing, that is my objective. I'm getting bliss in it. But when a rightful authority comes and explains that if you keep on playing and don't clear your exams properly, the future will be a problem. You understand, you become serious, and you become enthusiastic studying. At times, you may fail, like it happened with the king who was losing the war repeatedly. He lost the whole enthusiasm to continue to fight the war, and he ran away and took shelter in a cave. And there he saw a spider who was trying to go up and create a web, but failing repeatedly, falling down. But he didn't give up. He kept on trying, and finally created the web. And he immediately understood the king that no, I have to keep trying, I have to remain enthusiastic. He kept trying, and the next war he won. So enthusiasm is very important. Unless you are enthusiastic, you cannot achieve anything in life. And so, same is the situation with spiritual journey. You have to remain enthusiastic. There will be upheavals. There will be impediments. And to overcome them is why you require the guidance of a spiritual master, a guru who will handhold you, an association of devotees who will ensure that you do not feel that you are stopping. The moment you feel you are being overcome by defeatist attitude, they will push you. They will sing kirtans. They'll make you dance, and your enthusiasm will be done. That is the importance of enthusiasm. And for that, you also need to have a confidence that the path that you are following, the guidance that you are getting from the guru is appropriate. Because unless you're confident on your abilities and on your activities, you cannot achieve success or any result. For any result to be successful, for your endeavor to be successful, you have to be confident that what you're doing is appropriate. So confidence is very, very important. And at the same time, patience. The results are not you start and you get. No, neither it is a magic wand. It is something which is slow. And for that, you require steadiness. You require to be patient. You may not get any visible results for months and years together, even decades. You have to keep your journey on. Keep following the regulative principles. Keep doing the sadhana. And then, depending upon the anarthas which are created in your heart because of your previous so many lifetimes, all of them will be cleansed. And once the Chetodarpan Marjanam is successful, you'll start getting the results. So you have to be patient. And that requires certain behavioral adjustments. So what are those behavioral adjustments? That comes with the next part. And that is, you should follow the principle of Sanga-tyägät. So this is the fifth of the six favorable items. Now, what are the associations which we have to avoid? All the association with any karmi, any jnani, any yogi, or even non-devotees. Because if you are associating with them, the chances are that you will get disturbed. And instead of you being an influence on them, they will create impediments in your journey. And there are so many references for Sanga-tyägät. Like Caitanya Mahäprabhu, he gives the behavior of a Vaishnava as one who gives up the worldly association. And Narottama Thakur says, tändera charana sevi bhakta-sane vas. Live in the company of pure devotees. So that is where it is important. And so you will find that so many bhakti yoga clubs are coming up in different parts of the world. Small societies, colonies, communities, where people, 2 families, 3 families, they start off, they come together, they practice the bhakti yoga, and slowly and steadily, everyone else in the community, they join them and create a revolution called the Hare Krishna Mahamantra movement, Sankirtan Yajna. And that is what is required, because Caitanya Mahäprabhu ji has ordered us to do it. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna Pradesh. So you should also develop sadhu sangha. The third part is the C, which is character. And that is where the fourth item of the 6 items comes. Tat-tat karma pravartanat. So what it means is you should not remain idle, but be enthusiastic about executing the regulative principles. So what are the regulative principles of Vaidhi Bhakti, which you have also seen in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? One is Niyama and Yama. So Yama are the prohibitions. So we know the prohibitions because we follow them. And Niyama are the positive regulative principles. So activities that we should be doing. So the conclusion is, if you practice the regulative principles laid down by acharyas, like the 6 Goswamis, then we become successful. And they're not very difficult to do. They're very simple to do. So, and we have been doing it throughout centuries. Only thing is, now we are becoming aware about it and doing it in a much more scientific way with the objective to achieve Krishna prayer. So let us have association. Let us do book reading. Let us do chanting. Let us do deity worship and ensure that we take only Krishna Prasad, and that will be more than sufficient. And the D stands for the direction. And what it means is the sato vritti, following in the footsteps of the previous acharya. So this is the 6th item, sato vritti. Because finally, bhakti means transcendental activities. So vishuddha satatatvaha. So you for that have to ensure that whatever we do, we are not contaminated by the 3 modes. Because if you are not contaminated by the 3 modes of material nature, then only it can be called as vishuddha satatatvaha. So we ensure that whatever are the 24 hours of our day, we fill it in such a way with devotional activities that we remain completely aloof of the 3 gunas. So no more attack by Maya, no more illusion, only bliss, only ananda. And that is why we ensure that we remain successful in the Bhakti Yoga mind. And it is so easy to do. Get up early in the morning, complete your morning activities, take up to chanting, do Guru Aarti, do the Mangal Aarti, then have discussions on Srimad Bhagavatam, have prasadam, that is breakfast prasadam. Then you can do your regular activities. While doing your regular activities, you keep on listening to lectures or kirtanas. In the afternoon, again honor prasadam. In the evening, again honor. Visit the temple, take darshan, join the Sandhya Aarti, have discussions on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, listen to various lectures, come back home, pray to Lord and sleep. Early to bed, early to rise makes us successful. We don't require wealth, we require success on the spiritual journey. And this is the way we keep on working. Even when we are sleeping, we keep on thinking about Krishna. We try to feel the aloofness that we are having because of our distance from Krishna, because we have come away from our original place. This way, we remain successful. Coming to the first part, utsähän, Prabhupada discusses it in further. So, Prabhupada mentions the definition of utsähän as endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness. So, why to be enthusiastic is also explained very clearly by Prabhupada, because it is must for success in any activity. A businessman who is not enthusiastic about his business will never be successful. So, enthusiasm always has to be. And the principles behind enthusiasm is very simple. Enthusiasm means action, and we are spirit souls who are part and parcels of Krishna. So, activity is something which is a part of us. And that is why we have to keep ourselves always busy. But then, for whom, how, and what is the purpose? That is something which will differentiate our activity with those of others who are going to continue in the cycle of repeated birth, old age, disease, and death. And that is what will differentiate and make us successful. So, we have to ensure that we keep on acting in such a way which are suitable for Krishna consciousness, which are wanted or expected by Krishna. Because if you don't do it, then that will be useless. So that is what is explained even in the literatures as Krishna Artha Kila Cheshtaha. So whatever you do it, it has to be for Krishna. So if you don't do the activities which are for Krishna, then they are not activities. So that refers for whom you do it. How you do it? It is under the directions and guidance of the Guru. And the purpose has to be to attain perfection in Bhakti Yoga. So Yukta Vairagya is an example which is given in the purpose. So dictaphone is something which was just recently invented in those days when Prabhupada had traveled to America. And it was a completely material thing to be used. But then Prabhupada used it to dictate the purports, to explain the literature, and it was used for transcribing so much of literature into simple English language. So something which is completely materialistic was used in the service of Krishna, and it became useful. And this is what is Yukta Vairagya. So what Yukta Vairagya means is using everything in Krishna's service. Like this Zoom, it is basically developed for business purposes, so that those who are having businesses globally in different parts of the world or even country, they can have meetings, they can have discussions and need not travel. But same Zoom is being used by us right now to associate, to discuss Krishna Katha. This is Yukta Veda. So, when we say utsähän, when we say enthusiasm, we should not confine or narrow our activities. What is required is recognize that Krishna is all pervasive and we need to dwell in his service. As is explained in the Bhagavad Gita 9.4 Shloka, it is very clearly mentioned that we have to be enthusiastic. So let us take this decision that we will remain enthusiastic and will ensure that we follow the instructions of the Guru and continue on this path of Bhakti Yoga. Because that is what is mentioned clearly by Krishna. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad vyakta murtina vatasthani sarvabhutani nacham eshu avastita. By me in my manifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So, Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyehi se mukhehi jivvadau swayameva spurate ana. You have clearly seen this previously as well. So Krishna is all pervasive. So let us continue with all activities for his service only. And then that will be something which will be pleasing to Krishna. Coming to dhairyät, it is very clearly explained by Prabhupada ji in the purport that we should not be impatient in executing Krishna consciousness. We have to take instructions from spiritual master and execute those instructions with patience. Because it's only by the mercy of Guru and Krishna that we will get bhakti. So we have to be completely dependent on their mercy. Like a woman who wants a child, it's not that, oh, she says, I want a child and she will get a child. No. She has to surrender to her husband. She has to submit herself to her husband and wait for the time for the birth. Even a woman cannot become a mother immediately. So similarly, we have to have patience. Like Prabhupada started ISKCON single-handedly and he waited for appropriate response. And then there was a gradual expansion. If you remember, Prabhupada Liramrit, at time we had discussed that he started off with the League of Devotees in Allahabad. And he got only one devotee. And it was a complete failure. Even the place which he had started, one of the officials' wife, she acted in such a way that that place had to be abandoned, given up, because that wife of the official wanted to use it for women's activities. But then Prabhupada remained patient. He had full faith in the order of his spiritual master. He kept on writing. He kept on distributing back to Godhead magazines and creating Bhagavatam. And then when he got an opportunity, he went to America, had a heart attack on the way, but still remained patient. Even in America, he faced so much of trouble. The hippies that come to kill him, but he remained patient. And his patience finally paid off when ISKCON became a success. His success, his patience was such that he even used to wash the dirty utensils and all the activities of the hippies. So patience is very, very important. And ISKCON success is the right example of how patience can be achieved. And confidence. So it includes no confidence on other parts as well as confidence in the path of. So there are many other paths like bhukti, fruity activity for material enjoyment, mukti, liberation activities, or siddhi, mystic yogas. But we should not believe in them. Why? Because none of them gives purification. None of them gives shelter of Krishna. And even if you move on those paths, we always remain restless and have a fall down. Regarding these other paths, Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thäkura has been very categorical. He has said, he says, we will become callous to all this. And for that, he gives the example of Bhagavad Gita 2nd chapter. Ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagati sayyami Yasyam jagrati bhutani tanisha pashyato mune. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control. And the time of awakening for all beings is the night for the introspective sense. That is why we have to become self-control. And we have to have the path, full confidence on this path of bhakti yoga. And for that, we have these 6 P's: perfection, protection, profit, powerful, productive, and purity. Perfection, because life and soul, the desired goal and supreme perfection, both are achieved. Protection, because Krishna protects the surrendered devotee. Avasya rakshibe Krishna and neha bhir kraman nacho asti. This is a path which gives you pure and perfect profit. Because you are dragged forcibly to success. And we see this in the Bhagavad Gita as well as Bhagavatam, we will see this. So second chapter of Bhagavad Gita or the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which are very clear in discussions on this particular topic, where Krishna mentions it very nicely. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and the little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Neha vikramana ashisti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam api asya dharmasya trayate mahatma. This is a path which is powerful. Ahetuki apratya. There is no material cause, imposition or interruption. It is productive. It does not require any material qualification. And it is pure. It does not have a tinge of material activity. Because bhakti is done under the internal potential. That is why we need to have confidence in bhakti. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shvashva anti nigacchati kaunteya pratijani iye namya bhaktah pranashyati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace, O son of Kunti. Declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Another place, Krishna says, Mahatmana tu mam partha daivim prakriti ashrita bhajanti ananya manasa dhyatva bhuta adim avyayam. Son of Partha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Krishna says, Savai punsam paro dharmo yato bhakti adokshaje ahetuki apratyahata yayatma suprasita. Supreme occupation for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated, uninterrupted, to completely satisfy the self. And then in the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 18th chapter, 12th shloka, we see Yatha asti bhaktir bhavati yat kinchana sarva gunah tatra samasate suraha hara bhaktasya kutam mad guna manorathena asti dhavato bhayi. All the demigods and their exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge and renunciation become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities, even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives. He must be driven by his own mental speculation and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be good qualities in such a way? So, these are all favorable conditions. Utsähän, because we require for success in any field, whether it be student, businessman, or devotees. It is an endeavor with intelligence, and you have to have yukta vairagya. Matasthani, that is the example which we show. Niscayäd, no confidence in other paths, because they're opposite lifestyle. So karmis, jnänis, yogis, whatever they receive is impermanent, it causes restlessness and leads to fall down. So we have to have niscayäd, confidence in bhakti, because it gives perfection. Bhakti is life, soul, desired, whole and perfection. It gives protection, because we surrender to get protection. It gives profit, pure and perfect. You are forcibly dragged to success. It is powerful. Ahetuki apratihata. No mundane causes or material imposition or interruptions. It is productive. No material qualifications are required. We develop divine qualities of demigods, and it is pure. No tinge of material activities. So bhakti performed under internal potency. That is Radharani. Dhairyät, which requires us taking instructions from Guru, executing devotional service, or depending on Guru and Krishna for results. Tat-tat karma. So what we have to do is chant and follow the 4 regulative principles. Neglect will destroy devotional service. So we have to follow this tat-tat karma very serious. Sanga-tyägät. Avoid karmis, jnänis and yogis. Live with devotees. Bhakta-sane vasa, as mentioned by Narottama Das Thakur. And morning program. Fill whatever time you have with Krishna conscious activities. And that is something when we do, we'll achieve the perfection of life, for which we are all endeavoring to continue ourselves. Hare Krishna. So this is the complete discussion on this third verse. So requesting you all to kindly keep on reading the book as well. And whatever questions you may have, you may note down and ask them whenever you get an opportunity.